Okay, good afternoon everyone. So I am the first reporter. I am Lucretia Jasmine Joy. And my topic for today is all about the teacher as a curricularist. So what the specific roles the teacher play as a curricularist? Well, in this lesson, it will bring all of us to an enhanced understanding, realization of the multifaceted roles of the teacher which related to the curriculum. So, are you aware that the teacher's role in school is very complex? Teachers do a series interrelated actions about curriculum, instructions, assessment, evaluation, and learning. A classroom teacher is involved with curriculum continuously all day, but teacher is very seldom to be called as curricularist. So let's define what is curricularist. Curricularist. Well, according to Hayes in 1981, Ornstein and Hanskin in 2004, and Hewitt in 2006, that curricularists describe a professional who is a curriculum specialist. So what is a curriculum specialist? A curriculum specialist, it is a team of educators striving to deliver a quality education to all students. So it is something like we could say, just like for example a teacher, we could say that he is a curricularist or a curriculum specialist if she or he itself is knowledgeable about what he will aim to teach for her student. So to elaborate, curricularist is a person who is involved in curriculum, knowing, writing, planning, implementing, evaluating, innovating, and initiating may be designated as curricularist. So now, can we call a teacher as a curricularist? Okay, now, before knowing that, there are 7 rules that we could say that a teacher can be called as a curricularist. So the first role that describe a teacher to be a curricularist is the teacher knows the curriculum. So what is knows the curriculum? It is learning begins with knowing. So when we say learning begins with knowing, just like for example, you are aiming to know how to read. By that, you have to start first with recognizing the letters, the sound, before combining the letters and to create a word, and also by that you could learn how to read it right. And the teacher as a learner starts with knowing about the curriculum, the subject matter or the content, and by those the curriculum itself, the teacher should be knowledgeable of the curriculum. The teacher should know what he or she will going to teach towards his student, because the main focus of this first rule is that it is the mastery of the subject matter itself. And by that, you could, in short, it is a know-word. If you as a teacher have this speciality, then you can be called as a curricularist. But there's a second role that could describe also as a curricularist, and that is writes the curriculum. So writes the curriculum, a classroom teacher takes record of knowledge, concepts, subject matter, or content. The teacher organize your standards based on the topics and timeline. This need to be written or preserved. The teacher write books, modules, laboratory manuals, instructional guides, and reference materials in a paper or electronic media as a curriculum writer or reviewer. So in short, in the second role, the teacher should have the guide of what he or she will be able, or what will she or he will teach towards the student. Just like for example, the books can be also the guide, to have a to have a again to have a guide of what he or she will be going to teach towards the student. And the teacher write the lesson to provide comprehensive student learning experiences. And the third role is plans the curriculum. So again, the first role is knows the curriculum, which is the teacher should be knowledgeable of what he or she will be going to teach towards the student. And the second one is write the curriculum, which she should have a guide for herself, on what he will be going to teach towards the student. And the number three is plans the curriculum. So a good curriculum has to be planned. Yes, it has to be planned. Of course, because by planning of what you are going to teach towards the student is very important. It is the role of the teacher to make a yearly, monthly, and daily plan of the curriculum. Yes, I think it is the main priority of a teacher that he should have a lesson plan every month, and or also daily plan, which it is a basis of what strategies or teaching techniques that he or she will going to implement towards the day of towards his student. I mean, just like for example, if I will be going to teach these days, or on this day, so I should have a lesson plan for myself, for me to have the guide which on what am I going to do first until up until the end of my lesson or discussion for this day. The factors include the learners, the support material, time, subject matter, or content, the desired outcomes, and the context of the learners, among others. So when we say support materials, this includes what I am using, just like for example, IAMS, PPT, or others. And time. So if I myself will be given a time, it should be if, just like for example, just like when you're doing a demonstration, which the time allotment is 1 hour, then, or yes, 1 hour, then you have to to end your discussion or your lesson in just 1 hour, because there's a time allotment. And the subject matter or the content, yes, also in plans the curriculum, you have to master your lesson plan, which is very important. And in short, it could be called as a planner. And the fourth role of a teacher is initiates the curriculum. So initiates the curriculum. In cases where the curriculum is recommended to the schools from DepEd, CHED, TESDA, or the international bodies like UNESCO and UNICEF or other educational agencies for improvement of quality educations, the teacher is obliged to implement it. So, from the word initiate itself, the teacher should be an initiator. So, to be an initiator, the teacher should be or should have the open-mindedness to new curriculum. So, what do I mean by open-minded, or the teacher should be open-minded? So in cases where the curriculum or the uh, some of the higher education implement a new curriculum, which which a teacher should be open-minded, and just like the teacher should obey on what are the new implementation of the higher education. The teacher should have the belief that a curriculum enhances your learning. Just like for example on what happened in the year I think 2018, which is the start of K to 12. By opening that new curriculum, the teacher should be or should have the open-mindedness, which why the higher education implemented the K to 12, or why should they open it if there is a normal class, which is the first year, second year, third year, just like that. So by opening the K to 12, the teacher should have the open-mindedness to embrace of what's the new implementation, or what's the or what the new curriculum is, because it initiates the curriculum. The teacher is willingly willingly to oblige, or something like oblige in the implementation of the higher education, and that is what we call initiator, or the initiates the curriculum. And the fifth one is innovates the curriculum. Innovates the curriculum. Creativity and innovation are hallmarks of an excellent teacher. A curriculum is always dynamic, hence it keeps on changing. So it innovates the curriculum. It's just like the teacher is open for new learnings, for new strategies, just like that, for new techniques, and uh, just like this, from the content, strategies, way of doing, blocks of time, ways of evaluating kinds of student, and skills of teachers. One cannot find a single eternal curriculum that would perpetually fit. So it innovates the curriculum from the content, strategies, ways of doing, just like that. Um, it is the main thing that the teacher should do, or adopt, because we cannot say that what we teach, just like for example I am doing a just like in demonstration, I mean, when we discuss or have these techniques being implemented or being shown towards the student, we cannot say that it should it should not change for the next day, because we cannot say who are your students, what are the place you are in, because how about the location or the situation of the students you are going to be teaching with. So in that we as a teacher should be I think flexible enough to adapt changes and innovate new things, new learning strategies and techniques, and etc. And that is what we call innovator, or innovates the curriculum. And the sixth one is implements the curriculum. Implements the curriculum. The curriculum that remains recommended or written will never serve its purpose. So what do you mean by that? If the higher education recommended something, just like for example, um, there is a there is just like for the multiplication in elementary. So in multiplication, the higher the depth ed the DepEd recommended that subject matter. So the sixth role of teacher that described to be a curricularist is implements the curriculum. So implements the curriculum that remains recommended or written will never serve its purpose. Will never serve its purpose. So if the DepEd or the CHED recommended a subject matter that is needed to be teach towards a student, then as a teacher, you have to give life to that subject matter itself. It is her where teaching as a science and as an art will be observed. Something like you will be implementing new strategies, also techniques that um, never been seen, or something like it's not never been seen, but something like as I mentioned, I think I did mention or not, but the heart of the schooling is the curriculum. So with the when we say the heart of schooling is the curriculum, it means that the more I think more of a knowledge starts in school or in the curriculum. So and by that, the teacher becomes implementor. It is her when all the elements of the curriculum will come into play. The success of the recommended, well written, and planned curriculum depends on the implementation. So it means by if you as a teacher is knowledgeable and also have the guide which is right, which is as a writer, if you are a knower, writer, a planner, um, initiator and innovator, then you can also be an implementer, which an implementer that gives life to the curriculum plan. So if you have the lesson plan itself, then how would you bring life to that if you as a teacher does not adapt to new learnings, will not indulge to what's new or something like, just like for example, if I am going to have a discussion or demonstration, then how could I properly master that, how could I properly master my lesson plan if I will not give my best to implement it towards my student, just like that. So it implements the curriculum. Another po. So the last role that the teacher described to be a curricularist is evaluates the curriculum. So when we say evaluates, something like there in this last role of no described as a teacher to be curricularist is this is the part where we are going to question if how can one determine if the desired learning outcomes has been achieved. Is the curriculum working? Does it bring desired result? What do outcomes reveal? Are the learners achieving? Are there some practices that should be modified? Should the curriculum be modified, terminated, or continued? So in this role, this is the area which we're going to evaluate, from the word itself, evaluate. We're going to evaluate or ask to ask or something like to um, question if our student really understand our subject matter, if they really if they gain knowledge, if the strategy teaching strategy itself is good enough, um, if the when we say if some practices should be modified, so when we say modified, should be what we call this, um, should be changed. Should the curriculum be terminated or continuous? So when we say terminated, should be something like cancel or exclude in way of teaching of a teacher. Um, so by the seven rules of curriculum, this is the guide where we could say that a teacher can be called a curricularist. So first one, the teacher knows the curriculum, which the teacher itself is knowledgeable enough to teach student, or to knowledgeable enough to in way of carrying herself to teach. Also, they writes the curriculum, which he have the guide on what he or she going to teach towards his student, and also plans the curriculum where he have the also a guide on what he is going to do on the day that he is going to implement the discussion or something on the day that he will going to teach his student, and also the initiates the curriculum, the innovator, and the implementer, and lastly the evaluator. And the seven different roles are those which a responsible teacher does in a classroom every day. Doing this multifaceted work qualifies a teacher to be a curricularist. And so we should not forget that the teacher is also a curricularist, because we know that the teacher have a multitasking work. Could be when we say in reality, a teacher can be a mother itself, can be a sister, can be a counselor. So by that, and also in this topic, we could say that a teacher could be called as a curricularist if she or he possesses the seven roles of the curriculum. And that's all for my report, and thank you.